Hi, and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be sharing about certain personality traits you might have that make you more vulnerable to attracting a narcissist. And why I think this is so important is I've had so many clients who seem to be attracting the similar type or similar archetype. And this person tends to be entitled, jealous, they seek power and control, and they lack intimacy. And often these clients are wondering what they've done wrong. And I'm all about taking responsibility. And so being able to see what within me is attracting this, that's where you can take your power back, and that's where you could decide to maybe heal some of these aspects so you're not attracting the wrong partner. Just a reminder, hit the subscribe button if you find value in these videos. Okay, let's dive in. So the first personality trait I see in so many people who are attracting narcissists is the tendency to people please. So people pleasing is where you want to make sure that other people are happy and content around you, even if you're sacrificing your own well-being. So a lot of people pleasers become people pleasers because something earlier in their childhood told them that I'm safer when the people around me are taken care of. And to not really value or prioritize your own feelings, needs, and desires within your own life. And so if you think about a narcissist who's all about wanting status, and there's this idea of narcissist supply. So they want someone to take care of their own needs, to focus on their own wants, to be able to prioritize their own well-being. A people pleaser is going to be the best partner for them because they're already going to lean towards doing what the narcissist wants. So if you're a people pleaser, it doesn't mean you are indefinitely going to attract narcissists, but you might have a tendency to attract people who aren't really supporting you in a really real way. And so if this resonates for you, if you just start to have a mantra or an affirmation that you're putting your own needs, feelings, and wants above anyone else. And for you, that's going to feel selfish. But if you do it, start to feel what that's like, to really think and wake up in the day and say, what can I do for myself? And be able to quiet the mind that comes in and says, that's selfish. You need to take care of other people. You need to sacrifice yourself. People pleasing it's not a bad thing, but when it comes from a place of not valuing yourself, it can so often get distorted. And this is one primary trait that attracts so many bad partners, in particular narcissists. The second trait that attracts narcissists is high level of empathy. And so a high level of empathy means you're really willing and able to step into someone's shoes, their skin, their heart, and be able to understand from their point of view why they might be feeling a certain way. And so if you're highly empathetic, you might be able to hear someone's story and your mirror neurons are lighting up. And so you're feeling like whatever they're telling you is happening to you. So you're able to resonate with their heart in a really deep way. And this is a beautiful ability to have. But if you're not really connected to your core and you haven't built around practices that allow you to be empathetic without lowering your vibration or getting lost in someone's pain or story, this can be really detrimental, especially if you have a friend, a colleague, a romantic partner, someone that you're dating or interested in. If they're a narcissist, they're going to play in on this because a narcissist likes to make their world the whole world. So anything that's happening to them, they're going to see themselves at the center of it. And if you're buying into that, if they have a bad day and you're highly empathetic, you're going to feel that they've had a bad day and you're going to lean into supporting them. And that's going to make them feel special. So a highly empathetic person, it's such a special quality to have. I am really highly empathetic. I'll tell you that because of that, I've had so many unfortunate romantic partners where I care so much about their own pain that I'm taking myself completely out of the equation. And it wasn't really until I connected into my heart and did some healing work that I was able to be empathetic without losing myself. And so if you're highly empathetic, just make sure you're not losing yourself in these relationships, that you're not just always focusing on what they need. And the biggest test with a narcissist, if you're talking to them about your own problems, do they interrupt you? Or do they hold space for you? Are they able to be empathetic? Because usually a narcissist can be really intense and love bomb, but they can't really connect to intimacy. So there's always a block. And if we confuse intensity for intimacy, then we kind of get lost. So if you're highly empathetic, just make sure that you have your core and then you're not prioritizing someone's feelings over your own consistently. The third tendency is the people who have a high level of self-responsibility. So they tend to take on the responsibility for their own feelings and they put it on themselves, but they also do one further where they're putting the well-being of other people on themselves. So they're really burdened with the responsibility of taking care of people. And being a caretaker is a beautiful thing. But if we're not really allowing ourselves to self-care and we're sacrificing too much of our time and energy for someone, then we can lose that sense of self. So if you have a tendency in your relationships to hold yourself responsible for other people's well-being, you might want to look for how this comes up in romantic relationships. So what that can look like is not choosing what restaurant you really want to go to because they're not happy about it. And so what happens slowly if you're in a relationship with someone like that is you stop caring what you want because you just want them to be happy. And with a narcissist particularly, they can start off really, really controlled. And they're trying to get you and they're trying to connect to you and they're trying to get you to accept them. And then once they have you, they start to pull back incrementally. And so if you have that tendency towards only wanting to make other people happy and putting a lot of responsibility on yourself, well, anytime they're in a bad mood, if they get mad at you, if they gaslight, if they pull away, you might have a tendency to blame yourself. So this is just one where you have to recognize you are responsible for yourself and your own joy and your own peace and your own prioritization of yourself. That's where your responsibility is. But other people are responsible for their own. They need to heal themselves. They need to take care of themselves. And you can't make anyone happy who's not happy within themselves. Number 4 relates to all the others, but it's when we have a tendency to deny our own needs and feelings, particularly our feelings. And so if we've gone through trauma or any sort of wounding, especially with an attachment figure, we can suppress our emotions and our feelings. And so because we're suppressing, we're not really connected to what we care about. Our feelings and our emotions are telling us something's important. We need to look at something. We don't want to get lost in them, but we want to take those emotions and feelings as information. And if we've suppressed these, then we've lost a little bit of our compass. It means like we're not very connected to ourselves. And so when we've denied our feelings and emotions, we can easily have someone come in and take the reins. And all of a sudden we're lost, we're following them, we love them, we care about them, but we haven't been connecting to ourselves. We don't really know what we're feeling. And so if they start to be abusive or have microaggressions or put us down or gaslight, we can get really disoriented and really confused quickly. And so if this is one that you really resonate with, start feeling in your body. Just like pay attention to your body when you're around certain people. Do you feel at peace? Do you feel lifted? Do you feel joyful or do you feel scared? Do you feel put down? And if you've been denying your feelings for a long time, you might want to start simply and be able to just connect to what it is that you're actually feeling. Prioritize connecting to your feelings, needs, and emotions, and you're going to build that compass back up. The 5th one is people who have low self-esteem or low self-worth. It's really easy to invite a narcissist in and stay for a long time. So a narcissist tends to come on really hot. They love bomb. They have a lot of intensity. And that intensity is overshadowing the idea or the fact that they can't really intimately connect. And so if you have low self-esteem, someone comes in and they're showing up, how wonderful, how beautiful, and we get connected to that. But because they incrementally pull away and they become maybe more manipulative or more controlling, or they start to put you down, you've based your self-esteem and self-worth on someone's presence in your life. And that means if they're pulling away, you're going to think, what did I do wrong? And this can be so damaging. And I was definitely there. When I was dating a really intense narcissist, I became a shell of who I was because I didn't have high self-esteem. I had a lot of wounding that I had not cleared up. And so every time I'd come to him and talk about something that was bothering me, I was never empathized with. I was never acknowledged. And slowly, I just felt like I was the one to blame. And all of that stemmed from low self-esteem. So it makes sense that when we're in a loving relationship, we get so much energy and so much self-acceptance because of that, but it can't be the only source. And so self-love, self-acceptance, and self-care for yourself is going to be a practice that you really want to start to make sure that you're building that connection. If someone's treating you poorly, you have a better foundation to stand on where you can say, no, I know I deserve more. And if they're a narcissist, it will probably blow up and they'll leave. But it's essential that you do that for yourself. The sixth and final one are the people who are really prone to guilt. So people who are prone to guilt tend to have something in their past where they were told that they shouldn't be a burden, that they shouldn't be too much responsibility or make things harder on someone. And so this is one of those subconscious beliefs that come in that make us stay in all types of relationships that aren't good enough or aren't really satisfying or quality, but we stay in because we feel guilty. We feel guilty choosing ourselves. We feel guilty leaving. And so people who tend to be prone to guilt, they don't want to disappoint others. They don't want to make things harder on others. And so when they're thinking, I'm not getting what I want out of this relationship, or this relationship is really damaging me, they'll think immediately, well, how are they going to react? What's that going to do to them? And then we shift the focus on someone else's well-being and someone else's needs, and we lose what it is that we really need. And so guilt, I always say, is a primary emotion or a primary, let's call it a reaction that comes from the ego. So if you feel guilty, think about what your connection is to feeling burdened, disappointing others, and think about, well, what's the most important thing that you can do to prioritize yourself. You have to bring the focus back on you. And this is going to help you be able to unburden yourself and feel less guilty, because really at the end of the day, we have to take care of ourselves. And if you don't feel treated well and you're not satisfied and you're experiencing abuse, you have to choose yourself. And you have to trust that by choosing yourself, you're going to get in alignment with what you need. And then hopefully the person who you're leaving or you're saying no to can find some sort of healing or well-being on the other side of that breakup. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you next time.